I wanted to talk a little bit about the performance work that was going on with my stretched 78 KZ1000. I had the engine apart and it's back together. The other one was a KZ1000 engine. This is a KZ900 lower end that I put my 1,000 cylinders and head on there. And it's coming together pretty nicely. I just cleaned it up for sitting here just because that shinier bike motivates me a little more to keep working on it. And on my front offset sprocket, I had movement in this. When I tried tightening it up, I had movement before, and when I got the bike, and even the bike I had before with this offset sprocket, or the engine I had before with this offset sprocket, apparently it was loose and I didn't really notice it, but when I pulled the cover off to take it apart, this had a little bit of movement even though the nut was still tight. And it appears the problem is that I was missing this washer, and that washer keeps that nut off of the splines on the output shaft. Because without that washer, this nut was bottoming out on the splines and not really compressing this fully and keeping it stationary. So, man, that one little washer made a big difference. But everything else is in, and really the last thing to do is degree those cams, which is another aspect of engine building that I've never done, but I'm gonna be doing it here probably next week. But I got a set of, well, not a set, I got a Andrews 3X intake, which is a 418 lift, and the exhaust is a Russ Collins RC 424 exhaust cam, and that's like a 410 lift. So I don't have any specifics on that Russ Collins cam, so I'm gonna have to sort of fake my way through it a little bit. But I have like duration and recommended degrees for the Andrews cam. I just don't have any of that information for the Russ Collins cams, but I'm sure I'll make it work. I got everything in there and cleaned up, and man, it looks really good. My boots are for some 34mm Makunis that came out really nice and shiny with a little bit of back to black. It brings that plastic, making it look really nice. So yeah, I cleaned everything up just so that I could look at it while I'm building it. And I'm hoping that I can get this thing started and checking it out maybe within the next week or two. I did run into some problems with threads on my head, and fortunately I was able to put thread repair helicoils in there and they worked. But I had two locations, where's it? Oh, there it is. I had two locations where the threads stripped out and the helicoils seemed to work. The manual has me, or wants me to torque this thing to like 104 inch-pounds, which is way too high. I actually torqued it more like to 70 inch-pounds, and I think that should be good. A lot of people have recommended much lower torque settings for the head, for the cam caps and the valve cover. That is where I'm at, and the other bike over there is my KZ Revival project. I cleaned that up and put the cover on it just to keep the dust off it. That is going to be getting some paint work done, which I have never painted. I'm going to be figuring that out, and I'll post some videos on that. That's my final step for that project to be done. Now, what I did is I took the tank and the covers and I took it off of this bike while it was under construction, and I put it on that bike and I rode it at the end of the season. So I haven't really finalized my project videos for that one, but I will shortly. All right, that's it for now.